Welcome to Teamcenter Integration across enterprise systems. My name is Brian Schouten. I'm the Director of Technical Presales for PROSTEP Inc. And this is the second part in a four-part series focused on Teamcenter integration to other enterprise systems utilizing OpenPDM. Our Teamcenter Integration Series has four parts. So in the first part, we talked through a digital enterprise vision and different strategies that you could use in order to integrate data across that digital enterprise. Now we're going to focus more on OpenPDM, look through some of the fundamentals of the product, and talk a little bit about how you would start planning for integration. In the third part, we're going to look at a technical deep dive of OpenPDM and then go through some other integration demos with other systems, the PLM, ALM, and BSE systems. And then finally, we'll take a look at some success stories and then talk about next steps and how you can get engaged to do this integration as well. Some background on OpenPDM. The product's over 25 years old. And over 25 years ago, it was started as a product to synchronize data at German automotive OEMs between PDM and PDM. And so this could be product structure and configuration data and design data. Let's say you had one PDM that had a vehicle and another with an engine, then you could synchronize that. And that could be also with partners too. Around 2005, we expanded from PDM to more generic PLMs and then also into ERP to have that engineering to procurement and resource planning synchronization. That's a pretty common integration across many different engineering manufacturing organizations. Around 2010, introduced other concepts. So a collaboration and a partner data exchange with joint ventures across corporate borders, PLM system migration concepts, as well as simplifying the data model. So the original OpenPDM was based on PLM services, which is a standard computational informational model with SOAP services and XML representation of step 214. We moved to a simplified business object and relationship model around that time too. In 2015, we added linking support and introduced connectors for ALM systems as well as support for OSLC protocols. And then now modern 2020 through 2025, introduced many other connectors for IoT, for MBSE, and other services, as well as support for cloud enablement and cloud hosting and some SaaS offerings as well. OpenPDM comes in different engagement levels. The first on the left is traditional OpenPDM. It's called OpenPDM Integrate, and that's using a number of a la carte off-the-shelf connectors as well as process services in the middle in order to kind of give customers flexibility to adopt whatever their needs are. So you could have 3, 4, 5 different connectors between different systems and processes that connect data across all those, like in our digital thread examples. And really there's no limit to how you're using it. And typically it's sold as a perpetual license. And we set it up in the beginning and then you can maintain it and it'll automate data through the life cycle. OpenPDM Migrate in the middle is actually typically a rental because we want to, in a short period of time, move data from an old PLM to a new PLM that might be of different vendor versions, right? This has tools built in so that it can do data analysis, the staging databases, can do transformation, and also uses high performance APIs for the different systems that are involved to make sure that you can export, transform, and load data very efficiently. And then OpenPDM Collaborate on the right is intended to be a partner solution. So this could be either a neutral PLM that both organizations might feed data in and out of, or a collaboration across corporate borders between different PLMs. This can include IP filtering and delta synchronization to make sure that On an import, you're only updating what you need to, or on export as well. And make sure that the data that's being transferred over is correct and just what your organization wants to share. So in order to help explain this better, I've got a short demo of Teamcenter, the 3D experience with CATIA V5. So on the left-hand side, we've got Teamcenter with CATIA. We're going to start there. And then we've got 3D experience with CATIA on the right-hand side. We're going to introduce OpenPDM with the Teamcenter connectors, the process server, and the 3D experience connectors in order to make data flow between them. We're going to export the product structure and then also the CATIA V5 through our TCIC controller, and then import the product structure and CATIA V5 in a powered by fashion into 3D experience. And this is going to be shown in Teamcenter and CATIA. We'll search and load that data. We're going to then also search and start the process from within 3D experience, and then show the result of the synchronization and the OpenPDM processes that are supporting that throughout the process. So our demo, we're going to start within CATIA V5 and the Teamcenter integration for CATIA, or TCIC, where you can log in to Teamcenter and then load the data from Teamcenter, view the properties and other things that we can do in order to take a look at the data before it's synchronized through OpenPDM to other sources like 3DX. So we've queried for some data within Teamcenter. We can take a look at the different attributes that are there. As part of these synchronization processes, we can map all those different attributes to other values that may be on the other side, or even go through relationships to other types of data and other business objects that are within your Teamcenter environment, so that we can pull all that together. Like a change request that might have resulting items and problem items and other documents and things like that, all that related data together. We're going to load that data in CATIA so you can see it beforehand. And it's a fuselage assembly, just kind of test data so that we can just show this in both systems. Yeah. So now with that, we're going to go ahead and go to 3D experience. We actually have a trigger here and a way that we can query it built into 3DX. So these are little widgets within 3DX. We search for that part, and this is going through the Teamcenter connector, searching in Teamcenter, and then bringing the resulting matches back. We can select that part and then look at some of the attributes of it. It's the same thing that we showed before. And then go ahead and click go, and that is then starting a process within the OpenPDM process cockpit. So you see here that the process has been started. You see that it's running. It's going through those different steps. So there's a SOA export, a TCIC export, a mapping step, and creating through XPDM the powered by data, as well as the product structure within 3D experience. It's sped up a little bit. It's not always that fast because exporting and importing CAD takes a little bit of time. So you see the total duration of this is about 3.5 minutes. You can jump into any of these different processes and see all the steps within it, as well as some KPIs behind it. Each process has a detailed, of the log, as well as before and after of the data. So we can take a look at some of the data that's been imported here and creating the 3D representations and products within 3D experience. And that's after it's been mapped into a 3D experience type format. That you would need to create those from the item revisions and data sets that were available within Teamcenter. So it's been completed. We can go ahead and then search for that within 3D experience. And you see that it is just been created here. The timestamps are matching. We can open it up. And we already have the wing that's available and in context, and because it's similar data, we can put the fuselage and then load that up, and you can see that that's been created within 3D Experience and available in 3D. And then also the product structure is available here, as well as any mapping that you do for attribution and the 3D data sets that are associated with it, the 3D shapes. We can take a look at the properties as well. And you see that, some of the Teamcenter properties, have come across as well. So let's jump into some integration planning and what's required for being successful with this type of integration. Typically, we want to understand what the preconditions are before an integration, what the process trigger is, or the UI component like that widget is, and any post conditions that are after the integration, like what the resulting data sets look like. So if you think of it in terms of what triggers it, what is the precondition and source of the data, what the post condition is, and you can be able to articulate that, then it makes everybody's job very easy. And then talk about the implementation. So detailing the mapping of the attributes, as well as any of the relationships and objects that go in there. Any transformation requirements of binary content that could be like, changing CAD data into a derived format, like creating Creo view or JT or CGR or something like that. And then an import strategy. This means when to update or revise or insert or remove within a bill of materials, different data, or other types of logical conditions that are needed in the import in order to make your integration successful. And when you're doing the implementation, you also want to think about user acceptance. So document those test cases, any mapping and transformation requirements that you might have during that. And then also think about how you can fully validate the module that you're using for integrated data. So if you're moving data from one system to another, think about how you're going to use that data within the target system, and make sure that those different usages still work with the data that's been integrated and all the full module functionality. So what are the first steps if you contact us? Typically, we'll do an initial assessment, and this includes doing a detailed questionnaire, looking at the systems, what system versions you're running, if they're on-prem or off-site in the cloud, what the types of data are, what the scope of that data looks like, and then some of the integration, right? So what triggers those integrations, what the preconditions of the data are, what the post conditions are. We'll do some investigative meetings to refine what that scope is, and then talk about dependencies and work with different stakeholders in order to make sure that everything is agreed to. From there, we'll generate an integration proposal where we'll document the solution, do a high-level technical scope, including process sequence diagrams and overall architecture diagrams, kind of document assumptions, risks, conditions, dependencies to the infrastructure and needs there so that we have everything aligned to get going right away. And then project planning, timing, and costs overall of the project. And then once that's agreed to, we'll typically do a kickoff and start with workshops and deep dive sessions in order to refine those use cases, to make sure that we understand completely the systems and the customizations of those systems and the usage and how your organization uses it, to make sure that we've got that nailed down. We'll detail the mappings of your specific attributes and different soft types and things like that that you're using in order to make sure that it meets the use case requirements. We'll take a look at the infrastructure and install the software and get moving on configuring your processes. So finally, I'd like to remind you that PROSTEP is here to help. We've been doing this for a long time, and if you're looking for any feedback or want to discuss your integration project, then come contact us, and we'd be happy to help. Thank you.